The cuffs clicked shut before she even saw the captain's face. Cold steel. Tight. Deliberate. General Victoria Taylor, 4-star, decorated, feared in every war zone she ever stepped into, stood pressed against a graffiti-stained brick wall, her breath sharp and controlled as an officer twisted her arm higher than necessary. "Talk back again," Captain Wilson growled into her ear, "and I'll make sure you don't talk at all." Blue and red lights washed over her face. A crowd gathered. Phones recorded. But the general didn't beg. She didn't cry. She only whispered 4 quiet words. "You just ended yourself." How did 2 street-level officers manage to handcuff one of the Pentagon's most protected assets? And why did a woman with that level of power stand there and let them do it? What happened in the next 17 minutes is still debated. But one thing is certain. Only 3 people know the full truth. 2 of them lost their badges. One of them nearly lost her life. General Victoria Taylor. To the world, Victoria Taylor was a symbol of unstoppable black excellence, a brilliant strategist, first black woman to reach 4-star rank in the Marine Corps, holder of 2 Purple Hearts, a name that made young soldiers sit straighter. But fame came with fear, enemies, jealous rivals, politicians who hated that a black woman held more military clearance than they did. So Victoria learned a rule long before she earned a star. Power doesn't come from medals. It comes from silence and choosing when to break it. But silence has a cost. She lived alone, trusted no one, built a life around discipline, yet carried a wound she never spoke of. Her little brother, Marcus, killed at 17 during a traffic stop because he talked back. She buried him, then buried the anger, until tonight, until this exact street, this exact block, this exact kind of stop. Captain Ross Wilson believed he owned a night. 23 years in the badge, untouched by oversight. Special Street Enforcement Unit, the kind that made complaints disappear. He liked being feared. His favorite targets were those who didn't fear him, and nothing enraged him more than a black woman who didn't shrink, a rookie with too much ambition and too little spine. Blake laughed at Wilson's jokes, backed Wilson's lies, followed Wilson into darkness because he wanted to rise fast. But tonight, he would rise straight into a nightmare. It began with a checkpoint, a sloppy one, thrown together at midnight behind a liquor store. Victoria wasn't speeding, wasn't swerving, wasn't even talking. She was simply driving home from a classified briefing. Wilson stepped in front of her car, flashlight in her eyes. "License." She handed it over. "You live around here?" "Yes." "You armed?" "Yes." Wilson smirked. "Step out." She didn't move. That wasn't a question. Victoria breathed slowly, military calm, but her jaw flexed. "I know my rights," she said. Wilson leaned in close enough that she could smell his cheap coffee. "And I know mine." Officer Blake circled the car like a shark, trying to look tough. Victoria stepped out only when she realized refusing could lead to bullets. But the moment she spoke, even politely, even calmly, Wilson snapped. "You think you can talk back to me?" Blake muttered. "She got an attitude." Victoria tilted her head slightly. "Officer, I'm simply—" "Enough." Wilson grabbed her shoulder, yanked her toward the wall. Something old and buried rose up inside her. The sound of Marcus screaming. The night he never came home. Her voice lowered. "I've had enough of men like you." Wilson's face darkened. His grip tightened. That was all it took. A spark. A bruise forming. A humiliation he couldn't stand. "Blake," Wilson barked. "Obstruction. Resisting. Book her." Blake froze. "Captain, she didn't." "You deaf?" "I said book." "Huh." And with those words, Wilson crossed a line no badge could protect him from. Wilson shoved her harder. Her forehead nearly struck the wall. Phones recorded. Whispers grew louder. "That's a general, right?" "No way." "Bro, is that actually her?" Wilson didn't notice, or didn't care. His ego had taken the wheel. Victoria felt her arm strain. She heard Blake's nervous breathing behind her. "Captain, maybe we should." "You questioning me now, too?" Wilson snarled. Blake swallowed. No, sir. Victoria spoke only once. I need my phone. For what? Wilson hissed. To call your lawyer. She shook her head. No, to call my office. Something in her tone made Blake step back. Wilson laughed. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Special ringtone. Department line. He ignored it. It buzzed again. Again. Blake's radio crackled. Unit 7. Who do you have detained? Repeat. Who do you have detained? Ignore that, Wilson snapped. Another voice joined. Stern. Older. Panicked. Do not touch the detainee. Repeat. Do not touch the detainee. Wilson slammed the radio off. Captain, Blake whispered, what's happening? Before Wilson could answer, Victoria's phone, still in her pocket, lit up. Wilson finally looked. The world around him seemed to tilt. He reached toward the phone, but Victoria turned her head slightly and said, touch that phone, and you're done. Wilson's hand froze halfway. Unlock her, Blake whispered. Wilson's jaw clenched. You follow MY orders. He stopped mid-sentence. 5 black SUVs slid around the corner. No sirens. No hesitation. A swarm of protective detail surrounded the scene, weapons holstered but visible. Blake nearly dropped Victoria's paperwork. Wilson's confidence cracked like glass. From the first SUV stepped a woman in a suit. No badge. No name tag. Just authority. Who put cuffs on General Taylor? She asked. Wilson opened his mouth, but his words found no oxygen. Victoria finally turned around, calm as a judge. This man, she said. 2 agents grabbed Wilson's wrists. He didn't resist. He couldn't. What? Wait! Hold on. This is a misunderstanding. Blake stumbled backward as agents surrounded him too. I didn't do anything. I just followed him. That's the problem, Victoria said quietly. Blake's knees nearly gave out. The videos hit the internet before midnight. Millions of views. Hundreds of news headlines. A wildfire of outrage. General arrested by racist captain. Military furious over illegal detainment. Checkpoint scandal. Cops lose control. Wilson tried to justify himself. She was resisting. She was aggressive. But the body cam footage betrayed every syllable. He never asked for ID. He never followed protocol. He put hands on her first. He escalated everything. The mayor distanced himself. The police chief resigned. Officer Blake begged for immunity. He admitted Wilson told him to lie. He cried during questioning. Wilson refused to apologize. Instead, he blamed her rank, her race, anything but himself. But the Pentagon was silent, and there is nothing more frightening than military silence. 3 days later, Wilson received a letter. Termination. Criminal review pending. Civil rights violations under investigation. His badge number, once feared, became a meme, a joke, a warning. Blake was fired too. Not for brutality, for cowardice. 2 weeks later, Victoria returned to the same street. Alone. No agents. No cameras. No reporters. Just memory. She stood at the wall where her forehead almost struck concrete, where Marcus took his last breath years before, where she almost lost her life too. She touched the brick. She whispered, I didn't break today, Marcus. Not this time. A voice behind her spoke softly. You planned it, didn't you? Victoria didn't turn. I don't plan chaos, she said. I just don't run from it. The voice stepped closer. You knew they'd react that way. I knew men like Wilson always do. You knew the cameras were watching. Of course. For the first time all night, she smiled. Not with joy, with truth. This country respects one thing, she said quietly. Not medals, not stars. She turned, eyes cold and brilliant. Consequences. The figure behind her swallowed. And Wilson? Victoria's smile faded. He thought I was just another black woman he could break. She looked back at the wall. But he learned the same lesson my brother never got to teach him. What's that? Victoria stepped away from the bricks. Her shadow stretched long and shot down the alley. Your badge only protects you until the wrong person sees you abuse it. And with that, she walked away, leaving the wall, the memory, and the last remnants of Wilson's career behind her like dust.